Hello and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today we are going to do a lovely fun card using the floating wreath technique that I was showing you the other day. And we're using the support ribbon framelits and we're using the ribbon of courage, and we're taking the heart, and I've stamped out 8 of those, 4 in Pacific Point and 4 in Highland Heather. And we're using the coordinating die, which is, let me show you, I have some lovely dies in here. So the coordinating die, which is this heart one, and you need to die cut each one of them out. And then you are going to die cut a little, or use one of the blank ones that you've already die cut out. And the negative we are going to use as a little template like this. So we're taking a piece of cardstock which measures 4 inches by 4 inches. And we have our grid template. If you haven't seen this before, look in the description box below. I will have a link through to this video. My subscribers will already know about it. So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe now and click on the notification bell, and then you won't miss anything. So we don't need the Stamparatus for this. I just use it as a platform because it makes it easier to work with. And as I say, we're going to line up the 4x4 on the 4x4 grid that we've done. And then we're going to take our little template, and the template is going to go down on here. What I need to make sure is that when I rotate it round, so what I've been doing is to make sure that I have it where I want, I just make sure that I've eased it, and I need it just in a little bit. So when I turn it back round to here, I can see where I want it to be. So it needs to be about there. Okay, so we need to cut this down a bit so that we've got it the size that we want. So we're just going to cut this little template down. And then we need to take a piece of washi tape. Now, any washi tape you've got, I always use what I've got, which is left over as retired. So, in fact, I'm going to use this one because it's a little bit thicker or a little bit wider. And so we just need to take a piece of washi tape, and we're going to put the washi tape across the top to make like a little hinge. So let's line it up here with our fingers. We wanted it fairly near in like this. And having done a couple now, what you need to make sure, there's a couple of little tricks that you need to make sure that you do. Always set it up on a diagonal, because then your the hinge part is off on the side and away from the template. If you do it on the flat and you get it on this bit, you then can't move it round. I've learned from my mistake on that, so I don't do it that way. Now we're going to take our 4 pieces, and we need to put a dimensional on the back of each one. So I'm going to do this on each one. We'll do it one at a time. So you just need a dimensional in the centre, and that's going to give you your height and your floating part. So just one little dimensional in the centre. I'm using the standards on this because it's a fairly large one. Line it up, and you can hold it quite easily with your finger. You are then going to put the die into that frame, so you note it's exactly where you want it. Lift it up. You can then move it just up out of the way. Because this is a fairly big one, I'm going to keep it as it is. And then we're going to turn it round to the diagonal, so one step across. And this time we're going to use one of the Pacific Point ones. So let's put a dimensional in the centre of that one. Take that off. line it up again, and as I say, you can line it fairly easily with your finger. Put this one on here, and then you're going to put it across into your little template and then lift it out. Oops, just caught on the edge. And then you've got the second one. Move it round again to the next part, and this time we're going to go back to the Highland Heather one. Put a dimensional in on the centre. And you can do this with whatever you want. You can do it with punches. I did the first one the other day, as you know, with the butterflies and the from the Butterfly Gala, and put those in, and I did that on a 5x5. So we've got that one on there. Turn that one round onto here. Put that one across. And we'll take another one of the Pacific Point. Let's put a dimensional on there. Whoops. I think it's a really fun way of doing it. And you don't have to buy expensive wreath templates from other companies. We can use our grid paper, make our own template, and it works absolutely perfectly. Okay, so let's move it round to the next one. Get our, what are we doing now? Highland Heather. Put this one on. And as I say, you can use whatever dyes you want. So obviously flowers would look absolutely lovely. You can do little things and build it up. You can do big things. You can use whatever size, as long as it's a square and fits into your template. I've done this template with a 4x4 and a 5x5 because that's what I tend to use the most. But you can do any size you want. With the grids on here, all you have to do is to draw yourself out a template, and it'll work absolutely perfectly. So let's have another Pacific Point. Put that one in the centre. But I really love this because I like the fact that the by putting dimensionals on and using die cuts, you get that really nice bit of dimension on there. And I think it looks really pretty. So, right, that's that one. Move it round again. And I love the different sort of patterns that it creates. It creates a very different look from when you stamp and do the wreath technique. Because, as I say, you're getting that sort of height coming through, and almost like those floating frames that I've been seeing recently, where you you know, die cut and then put your images onto some sticky sheets and things, and then make it into a floating frame. This gives you a little floating wreath, and I think it's very pretty. So let's put that one on here. So we need blue. Let's put the blue one on here. So that's the Pacific Point. And again, choose colours that you like. As I've always said, I'm just the person that gives you some ideas. It's then down to you to create it how you want it. So I tend to pick colours and things that I like. So there we go. Now that has given you an absolutely beautiful little circular, and I love the way it's given sort of a star in the centre of that. So I think that's really pretty. Now we can put a little sentiment across there, or we can put, in fact, I haven't got one that would probably work in those colours, but if you took, yes, that would. If you took the Well Said framelits and put that over in the centre, that would work absolutely beautifully. And let me have a look and see. I don't think I've got a piece of crumb cake that's the perfect size, but I've got a piece of Sahara sand which will just give us an example of this. So if you then put that on, let's move this out of the way because we don't need it for a minute. If you put that on, as I say, it's the wrong sort of size, but put yourself a die across the centre with the words. Line that up like that, and doesn't that look pretty? Love the fact that you've got that star in the centre of that. And again, a lovely way of doing this technique that you get really, I don't know whether, I'm just trying to hold it up in the camera. You can see how much sort of dimension you get by putting it in with the dimensionals. And such an easy thing to do, because you don't need to buy anything to be able to do this. You can use all of the things that you've already got. All you need is a wreath template using our grid paper, so it's lined up perfectly for you. And again, just a little die cut, put it on there. You can, now as I say, I use the Stamperators because I like it as a platform and it makes it easy for me to work. You can, if you want to, let me take that out of the way. You can, if you want to, put it down on your work surface and then just attach it with some washi tape or something to adhere it to your work surface. Mine's always going to be a little slippery because I have laminated it, but I do find that if I just use the one of the magnets, no, it's not going to, through the lid and everything, it's not going to hold it down as a magnet, but it just adds that little bit of weight on there. You don't want to do it inside because you're not going to be able to turn it round. So if we put it inside like this, you're not going to be able to turn it round as easily. Particularly if you're using the 5x5. So that's why I've put it up on top just like this. But as I say, a lovely way of doing a card that makes it look really beautiful. And as I say, I'm going to mount it onto probably Highland Heather, and I'm then going to die cut a little sentiment to go in the centre. So another idea, using the wreath template that we've made with the grid paper and creating a beautiful dimensional layered floating image. So thank you so much for watching me, and do look forward to seeing you again. Bye bye.